Time for some fast food from the world of media now. Listening Post News Bites. The coverage of the massacre at Virginia Tech University this past week showed yet again how citizen journalism is becoming an integral part of breaking news coverage. This video, taken from a student's cell phone, doesn't show much, but the steady sound of gunfire can be heard. CNN was the first to air it, and by that night the clip was viewed more than 1.8 million times on the net. Slate, the online magazine, called this still picture the dominant image of the tragedy. It was taken by a photographer from the local newspaper, the Roanoke Times, and went to the front page of the New York Times, the Washington Post, the LA Times, as well as newspapers overseas. And MSNBC told the Baltimore Sun newspaper that part of its coverage involved the monitoring of online communities such as Facebook and MySpace in order to bring viewers as much information as possible. Google Earth is now offering itself as a tool to put the spotlight on evidence of a possible genocide in Sudan. A comprehensive interactive map allows users to zoom in and out of some of the worst affected areas of Darfur. The satellite images purportedly show burnt-out villages and huge refugee camps filled with tents. The map takes images shot from space in 2004 and compares them to what can be seen today. Google is working with the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum on this. The museum's director says the initiative will make it harder for people to ignore what's happening in Darfur. And one of the media's dirty little secrets has been exposed. Famous people don't always write those highly personal blogs that are posted in their name. CBS News anchor Katie Couric's blog had a recent entry on how children see libraries differently to the way their parents do. It turns out the piece was plagiarized almost word for word from a Wall Street Journal story. CBS said Couric doesn't write her own blogs, that a producer does. CBS then fired the producer and kept the anchor, who, despite a salary of $16 million a year, has an underling write some of her personal insights. France is in the middle of an election process that will culminate on the 6th of May, when voters there choose a successor to President Jacques Chirac. Like many European countries, France has a ban on paid political advertising on television, the idea being to stop rich candidates from getting an edge. But with so many people in France now saying that their main source of news is the internet, that law is looking a little outdated. The Listening Post's Salah Khadr now on the would-be presidents flocking to the net in search of votes.
Socialist candidate Ségolène Royal gets personal on the web. Part-time farmer, the centrist candidate François Bayrou, is brushing up his PR image in cyberspace. Current favourite centre-right candidate Nicolas Sarkozy stars in his own daily campaign documentary. Even the 84-year-old candidate of the far right, Jean-Marie Le Pen, has a presence in the virtual world of Second Life. One thing politicians looking for votes understand is numbers. France has 27 million internet users, and 40% of them say the web is their main source of information on politics. Given the ban on political advertising on TV, it is no wonder that anyone looking for votes is campaigning on the net.
I do think that the internet played a major role in the presidential campaign in France, because it was a way for politicians to show that they are no longer an elite looking down on people, but that they feel close to them and that they take into account what they say on the internet. It was part of their communication strategy.
Politicians everywhere are looking for, and usually not finding, ways to connect with young voters. French candidates face those challenges and more. France was shaken in 2005 when the suburbs around Paris erupted in riots that then spread. Many of the young people involved talked of alienation, the feeling that they weren't part of the country, let alone the political process. Politicians obviously believe the web can fix this disconnect.
I think Ségolène Royal was the first to show that and to feel that internet would be important, and she created last year, before becoming the candidate for the Socialist Party, a website called Désir d'avenir. I don't know how we can translate this, but it's designs of the future.
On this site, she asked her internet audience to help shape her policies, her platform. She says she doesn't want to be a top-down politician. Is that populism, as her critics contend? Because she calls it humility.
This is, of course, a very wise strategy to make people believe that she's close to them and that she takes her opinion into account. But I would say it's also a double-edged sword. So it's good, of course, to listen to the voices online, but I don't think it's appropriate to build a political program only following internet users' comments online.
Election frontrunner Nicolas Sarkozy has also experienced the sharp side of the cyber sword. There are a host of anti-Sarkozy sites dealing in satire and gossip. Sarkozy has a reputation for being a no-nonsense political scrapper. That is partly reflected in his internet strategy.
In 2005, when the riots took place in the French suburbs, he bought Google ads, like if you typed the words riots or car burns or, I don't know, delinquency, you would end up automatically on the UMP website.
But Sarkozy is using the net to display something voters don't see much of in real life. A self-effacing sense of humour, a way to take the edge off his image.
Sarkozy has also done something quite innovative, and what he's done is sort of almost preempt that by creating a joke site about himself called Sarko Disco, where it mocks the trait that he's perceived to have as politicians have, trying to appear young and with it, and you can set background music and manoeuvre him around sort of Michael Jackson style moves on the dance floor, and it's really funny. It's a great way to spend a few minutes, but actually what he's done is very clever, because it does ask you to sign up for the email list, creates a bit of an actual online campaign, and gets a buzz going.
The internet is the place to forge new images for France's political leaders. But new communication strategies come with new and unforeseen risks. Somebody came up with the seemingly great idea of putting a campaign HQ for Le Pen's National Front Party into Second Life, which would have been ideal until other inhabitants of Second Life took offence, rioted and burnt it down.
The last word on Don Imus, the last word on the broadcast, goes to a musical duo called Rhett and Link. It's their take on the controversy, and it's a suitably conspiratorial Internet Video of the Week. We'll see you next time at The Listening Post.
It's long been time for us to put Don Imus behind us, resign-imus to the Maximus. I'm sick of his hat and sick of his brow, his not fit for TV or radio scowl,
and that bandana and cowboy hat jean jacket thing he's got going on.
Yeah, but it's the racist comments. That's what we need to be addressing.
Okay.
He's a racist. He said some terrible things about a basketball team. Plus, he's a sexist because the basketball team was a women's basketball team.
And they were playing for the national championship, right?
I don't know. I don't keep up with women's basketball. But I'll start.
You know, maybe we're playing into his hands. Maybe this is his plan all along, to say these terrible things to generate controversy and draw attention to himself.
And so by singing this song, we're actually perpetuating the problem.